We are getting some breaking news. And we'll now get you the thoughts which were penned by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 1st of June when it was the last day of the Lok Sabha elections between 4:15 p.m. and 7 p.m. He penned these thoughts during his return flight from Kanyakumari to Delhi. In the letter, Prime Minister Modi said, "My dear countrymen, one stage of the biggest festival of democracy in the motherland of democracy is being completed today on 1st June. After a 3-day spiritual journey in Kanyakumari, I have just boarded the plane to go to Delhi. Voting is going on in Kashi and many other seats. There are so many experiences, so many feelings." This is what Prime Minister Modi penned down in his letter on 1st June while he was returning from Kanyakumari. CNN News 18's Payal Mehta is now joining us with more details on this. Payal, over to you.
Well, it's a very, very emotional piece that the Prime Minister penned on his spiritual journey, on his responsibilities, on what the election really looked like. He said, like every one of us, he also felt a lot of emotions run up through his mind and his heart through the entire phase of election, where he actually started to campaign from the land of Meerut and then went on to campaign through the entire country. And finally, he landed up finishing his campaign in Hoshiarpur in Punjab. So he says that while there was a sense of responsibility because he was the campaigner, he had to in fact face a lot of back and forth. People abused each other. There was a political discourse which was in place. But he said the moment he sat down to meditate, he felt a sense of detachment. He felt that the elections were over, but now it was time for him to work for the cause of the motherland and work for the cause of Bharat. So obviously he says that those are the emotions that took over with him. He felt a sense of detachment. He said elections are over, but now it is time to perform and deliver as well. The Prime Minister in this entire piece also speaks about the relevance of Swami Vivekananda, what he has learned from Swami Vivekananda. And the Prime Minister also said that once again he was reminded of his entire spiritual journey that he would undertake when he was many, many decades ago, when he would go up to the Himalayas. Remember, the Prime Minister as a pracharak of the RSS would go on many such tours, up in the Himalayas and up in the mountains, and he felt extremely connected as well. So obviously a huge emotion has been a huge emotion took over him, and he probably understood that this is the time for them to work for the cause of the motherland, to work towards the cause of the people. And Swami Vivekananda was said to be a huge inspiration for the youth, and that's something which the Prime Minister takes a lot of pride in. In this piece, he also speaks about the importance of the election, the importance of the people of Kashi. He also says that yes, Kashi went to vote and he was the candidate, so those are the emotions also which he felt. And he felt that in particular he had to be grateful to the Matri Shakti in this election, who actually stood back strongly by them and gave them the support and gave them the vote that they were really looking at. So it's now performance stand, like the Prime Minister says, because it's the first election that has taken place in the Amrit Kal, and the Prime Minister has taken the resolution that by 2047 the Amrit Kal would ensure that India would become a Viksit Bharat nation.
In fact, Payal, another point which is to be noted is that Prime Minister Modi has said that the welfare of the world is due to the welfare of India. The progress of the world depends on the progress of India.
Well, absolutely. There were days when India was considered to be the fragile five economy, was considered to be a weak nation, but this is a nation which has actually come up on its own. It is well on course to become the world's third largest economy. That is one of the goals that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government has set themselves up for the next term. And the fact that India has in fact stood up for every nation in their hours of crisis, whether it is providing vaccine, whether it is providing services, goods, etc., in the nations which are grappling with either some crisis or the other. Sri Lanka is the perfect example of how India has been able to support them. India has also sent flood relief material to a number of countries in the neighborhood as well. It is said to be the vaccine capital. It was said to be the vaccine capital of the world. It is also said to be the pharma capital of the world, because just a couple of days ago, India did send a huge consignment to nations like Cuba. So that's something which, of course, India has looked forward to. In fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as a leader of India, as a Prime Minister of India, was able to stop the Ukraine war for some time so that our students could be evacuated, without any harm being caused to them. So that's the kind of image that India has been able to create in the world, and India has become the world's the nation that the world looks forward to. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has forged partnerships and has forged friendship with many of world leaders, and he's received a lot of accolades for that. He's received a lot of awards over there. And for all those people who've been talking about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's views being very radical in nature, one must remember that in his entire term, Anjali, the Prime Minister has received 6 highest awards from Muslim nations also.
Right. Also, Payal, yes, the Prime Minister has talked about the immense love that he received from the women of India during the poll campaign. He said that he received immense love from the mothers, sisters, and in fact, there was a sense of trust in the Prime Minister that the women voters showed.
Well, absolutely. These schemes like the Lakpati Didi that Prime Minister spoken about, he's spoken about the drone Didi, that's the scheme that he's spoken about. The fact that this was the government which had the political will to bring in a special session to pass the women reservation bill, that is something which is very reflective. Now, in the past, also in the last few elections, you've seen whether it is Bihar's election in 2020 or the recent election in Madhya Pradesh, you have seen women have rallied down very, very strongly behind Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and they've been the Shakti that actually Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks about. He speaks about worshipping Ma Shakti. He speaks about worshipping the female form of the goddess, essentially saying that these are the women who have actually reposed their faith in Narendra Modi. That he's brought in development. He's made sure that there is money left with them in their pockets. He's opened up the Mudra Loan Yojana for them. He's opened up the Jan Dhan account Yojana for them. So all of these things have fruitified in a way that women have stood out very strongly in support of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government's policies. And this is going to be extremely important to watch out for in this election, especially the focus being Gyan, that is Garib, Yuva, Annadata and Nari Shakti, which the Prime Minister has spoken about. And of course, now 2029 is being awaited keenly because by 2029, the women reservation bill will be in effect and 33% women are likely to get tickets for the next Lok Sabha.
All right, Payal, thank you so much for getting us all those details.